and welcome to the podcast. My name's Richard.
I'm Austin.
And I'm Ash.
And we are going to be your hosts for today. Today, we're going to try something new. We're going to get into a series called Movie PreGame. Now, I know what you're thinking. Are you just going to be previewing movies? No! We're going to be doing way more than that. We're going to be pre-gaming a movie. So, how this works is we are going to preview a movie that is coming out that we have not seen yet. It comes out this, actually, Friday, March 8th. And we're going to give our opinions, our thoughts, our predictions on how we think this movie is going to play out, whether we think it's going to be good or not. And then we are going to predict a Rotten Tomatoes score onto this movie with a tomato meter and an audience score combined throughout the season, which I'm going to refer to the 2024 year as the season because the movies keep coming out. We got to keep playing the game. I mean, that's just how it works. We got to go to the movies more often this year, apparently. That's how this works. At the end of the season, the first place team will receive a prize, not only for themselves, but for someone else of their choosing. So, predict wisely. All right, our first episode today, we're going to begin with Imaginary. Imaginary is a new Blumhouse horror movie that is set to come out Friday, March 8th. And let me read the synopsis from this one. From Blumhouse, the genre-defining masterminds behind Five Nights at Freddy's and Megan comes an original horror that taps into the innocence of imaginary friends and begs the question, are they really figments of childhood imagination or something more terrifying lying just beneath? All right, so as I said, this movie comes out this Friday. Today is Tuesday. What's today's date? Is it the 5th?
5th.
Okay, today is Tuesday, March 5th. 3 days prior to this movie coming out. So as I said before, we are going to talk about this movie a little bit. Let's do that first. Let's get into this movie. So, Austin, what are your thoughts on Imaginary from what you've seen so far?
I mean, looks interesting, but at the same time, it looks kind of silly.
Looks kind of silly. So, yeah. Are you thinking this is going to be a good one or not really?
It's in between 50-50.
50-50?
Yeah. I want to give it high hopes, but there's also a chance that it may not be good.
Yeah, and horror is one of those genres that we constantly get these trash movies on occasion.
Mm-hmm.
Ash, what do you think? Oh, yeah.
I feel like, because Blumhouse always be coming out with some really good, mind-bending, tripping out kind of movies. Like, you guys remember The Black Phone, I didn't think it was going to be good, but hey, it exceeded my expectations. But I believe, like, Blumhouse just finds a way to turn the cutest things into demonic nightmares. And we see Megan, Five Nights, and now a demonic teddy bear that has to ask us, can we only see our imaginary friends, or is there something darker or demonic? That's a really good question. I have high hopes for this movie.
And see, I understand both because, like, for Austin's sake of it, there have been a ton of horror movies that have come out that look promising, and then we go spend money on them, and they're not that good. Or vice versa, we go into a movie that we don't know what it is, and then we end up watching it. It turns out to be really good. This concept, to me, is amazing, and it's funny that it's coming out before a movie that we all want to watch, Imaginary Friend, and this is, like, I guess, the horror version of that movie. So it'll be interesting to see, like, how these two movies turn out. And my prediction is this movie is going to be way worse than If, but that's just my prediction on the matter. All right, so do you guys, is this going to be a high-rated horror movie in the eyes of viewers and critics, do you think?
I say yes.
Yes, Austin?
No.
No?
No.
And why do you say no? Pondry, why are you saying no?
Well, mostly because I think it's 50-50. I don't think it's going to be good, but hey, I'm still going to give it high hopes. Hopefully it is good.
Mr. Cynic over here.
Okay.
Mrs. Hopeful.
Because I kind of think it's going to be something like that as well, where it's going to be like maybe critics love it and audience hates it, or there's going to be like that weird balance divide. So I think we're going to see an interesting score prediction on this one. All right, so speaking of Imaginary, it is going to be a Blumhouse horror movie, so let's get into the horror questions of today. When talking about horror, what is the top movie that comes to your mind? Now, we're all going to just write this down and then flip it so we can just spur the moment. When talking about horror, what is the top movie that comes to mind?
I need. Let me see your marker because mine just died. Mine's kind of long.
What is The Exorcism of Emily Rose Part 2?
Okay, I got it.
Okay. All right. We'll flip it on 3. 3, 2, 1.
I said Paranormal Activity.
Well, this is like it's not gonna.
Well, we just read them. I said Paranormal Activity.
Oh, that was a good one. The ring, the thing,
The Ring.
the ring. Okay. Okay, Paranormal Activity. That movie in theaters. Gosh, damn, that one. I was telling my friend about that the other day about how I thought that movie for the longest time was real. Like it felt like a found footage, like real movie. And
Freaked me out. Still does.
yeah, and then The Ring. Oh, what? Why The Ring? What makes you think? Like what? Why do you?
It was always the faces after they die. That always
Oh.
terrified me.
Yeah.
And then seeing Samara come out and her head is completely covered with her hair, walking slowly towards you. Yeah, doesn't agree with me very well.
Mhm.
Still doesn't.
And the glitching and coming out of the TV.
Mm-hmm.
I like a good horror film that plays with your perception of reality and has you thinking after the film, you know, like what's reality and has you second guessing your existence. That's a true horror film.
See, that's why like I have a little hope for this one because it like the trailer is just showing us this bear that is getting like it seems like he is being possessed by her imaginary friend who is like upset that he's been abandoned. So it's kind of like I guess a Jesse from Toy Story like horror movie
Yeah.
in a way, but he's a
Teddy bear from Toy
he's Lotso.
Story.
He's Lotso. Oh my gosh, Lotso origin story?
It could happen. It could be. I'll never look at Toy Story the same after this movie. Sure.
All right. What is the most underrated horror movie in your opinion? Normally, I would say Trick or Treat, but it's starting to gain some popularity.
Underrated horror movie?
Yeah, that when you think it's not in other people's top 10s, but it's definitely in your top 10.
Oh, what's that movie that talks about the Warrens?
The Warrens.
The Warrens and Annabelle.
Oh,
Starts with an I.
I was gonna say Sinister. Not Sinister.
What was the movie that we watched
Conjuring?
that recently came out?
Yeah, I feel like the whole Conjuring series.
What movie?
The movie that we just watched about the pro baseball player in the swimming pool. Was it called Swimming
Oh,
Pool?
Night Swim.
Night Swim?
Wait, you like that movie?
I thought it sucked. Okay.
Oh, I'm thinking of overrated.
We said underrated.
Oh yeah, the most underrated, definitely. I would say definitely The Conjuring.
Conjuring. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, you guys agree?
Like
on
the
that.
whole Conjuring like series. But it wasn't just a Conjuring. There was another one that started with the I, and I can't seem to think about it. But it was
Insidious.
Insidious, The Conjuring is all one thing to me. I think that whole franchise was pretty good.
Tales from the Hood.
Tales from the Hood was a pretty good movie.
Yep, definitely The Conjuring.
The creepy
for
dolls.
The Conjuring is like I think they're gaining momentum too because they've created like this whole universe, and within that universe
Yeah.
you have like the Nun, Annabelle, and then there's just building off those too. So they're
That's one thing that's great about it is that they all connect into the same story.
Yeah.
I also believe that it was underrated because it literally followed a true story about the Warrens. They were really real people and Annabelle's a real doll that's still under a lock and key, which I thought was crazy that it's a true story.
Yeah, it is a less frightening doll because it's just like a Raggedy Ann doll, but that might make it actually a little creepier. That's just
Yeah, like
Raggedy
ghosts and demons can possess anything. You may think like, oh, it's cute and it'd just be probably like a Grogu, but then the Grogu gets possessed, and then what?
And I'm gonna go rip it in half. I'm gonna try. All right, so our last talks about imaginary. Do you guys think it's gonna be a watch it or a skip it?
I'll watch it.
Skip it.
Skip it. It's these like early like January, February, March horror movies that I feel like never do good. I think it's gonna be a skip it. Honestly, I do. I think it's gonna be a skip it. I hope I'm wrong. I do because this is a strong concept, but I think it's gonna be a skip it. All right, so we are gonna jump into our prediction now. Now, just to explain how this works again, if you go to Rotten Tomatoes and look at a movie, there will be a tomato meter, which is more for like critics that have given and rated the movie, and then there's an audience score, which is people like us that go in and rate the movie. We are going to combine that score, and we're going to try and predict before this movie comes out, because remember, it is Tuesday, March 5th, and this movie doesn't come out until Friday. And if you look on the website right now, which I'll bring it up. Let me refresh. As you can see, there is still no score for this. So our game is going to be, we are going to try and predict a score for this. Sunday, when we are all available again, we will go on a specific time, I'm thinking 1 p.m., and look on the website, and that will be the final score, because I don't know if it updates throughout the day, but I'm going to say like 1 o'clock Sunday, we will get that score, write it down, and then we will score how close we've got to that number overall within our own range. If we go over that guess number, say it's like 110 and someone guesses 120, you get a 10-point penalty added on as well, so you actually lose more points if you go over the number, so you're trying to get under the number. The closest to the number wins, and then it's going to be like the scoring wise, it's going to be the lower score is the higher score. That's how we're going to be scoring this throughout, and we're going to predict a Rotten Tomatoes score for this movie. So, y'all ready? We are going to write down this score right now. All right. What is going to be the Rotten Tomatoes score of the movie Imaginary opening up this week? All right. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right. Ash, what is your predicted score?
I said 125.
125%, okay. I know this is not going to have, this is just my curiosity. Do you think it's going to be a higher critic or a higher tomato score or a higher audience score?
A higher critic score.
Oh, you think the critics are going to enjoy this more than the audience? Okay. Austin?
130.
Oh, we are so close in the same ballpark here. 130.
What's the plan here?
I say it's going to be 50-50 with 65% for each with the audience and the tomatoes.
Okay, so you got it split.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I 139. So we are very close. So there's going to be an interesting standings at the end of this week. Ash with 125, Austin with 130, and me with 139. I think the critics are going to hate this movie. I think they're going to go with like a 40, and I think like maybe like a 50, and then the audience is going to carry it with like a 80 something. That's what I'm thinking, 139. Now I'm rethinking about it. That might be a little too high. I can see like 121 or whatnot. But those are our predicted scores for the week. I will come back next week. I might have you guys on for the post game if you guys want to do the post game with me. That's where we will give our take of the movie after we have actually seen it, and how we are going to compare our predicted scores against the final score that we will check on Sunday. Now, in the future, I am pondering having a new guest on per week, and then the guest score would go against ours throughout the week. And again, if the guest beats us at the end of the season, then the guest and someone they know get a prize as well. But I'm still kind of talking around with friends to see if anyone would want to do that, or if we just keep it within us. But as always, these are just our opinions, and go watch the movie, see what you think. I think it has potential to be a good movie. It's an original horror movie, like those sometimes out of the stuff in Hollywood that we constantly get that's regurgitated towards us. It's kind of nice to see an original idea coming out only weeks ahead of another Imaginary Friend movie. So we'll see how this one does.
And hurry and welcome to the movies.
No, it's hurry, the movie's starting.
Oh, hurry, the movie's starting.
Let's try that one more time. All right. Thank you guys for listening and watching. And as always, hurry, the movie's starting.
Yeah. I didn't do that. Hurry, the movie's starting.
Yeah. All right, and that's a cut.